Imagine a small quiet town in 19th century Austria, where a young Mendel kneels in a monastery garden, carefully cross-pollinating pea plants. Little does he know he's about to plant a seed that will unravel the mysteries of heredity and reshape what it means to be human. But what if this tiny particle inside every cell, what we now call a gene, holds more power than anyone ever imagined? Today, we chase that secret from a monastery garden to the cutting edge of gene editing. Let's start with Gregor Mendel, the man most credit with kicking off genetics, but his work was ignored for decades. Why? Because the gene was invisible, a whisper in the wind. We had to learn to listen first. Gregor Mendel, an unassuming monk in Brno, meticulously tracked how pea plants inherited traits like flower color and seed shape. By crossing thousands of plants, he uncovered patterns, dominant and recessive traits, that suggested something fundamental was guiding heredity, even though he had no idea what it looked like. His 1866 paper languished unread for decades. Think of genes as instruction manuals tucked inside every living cell. Like recipes in a cookbook, each gene tells the body how to build proteins that determine traits. Yet these manuals don't operate alone. They interact, edit, and sometimes misprint, much like a complex software running an organism's operating system. It wasn't until the early 20th century that scientists rediscovered Mendel's work and started identifying chromosomes as the physical carriers of genes. This transformed genetics from abstract ideas to real, measurable molecules, propelling medicine, biology, and our understanding of identity itself. Fast forward to the mid-20th century, James Watson and Francis Crick. They didn't just find DNA's shape, they cracked the code to life's language. But this discovery also stirred a deep, personal question: how much of you is in your genes? Watson and Crick discovered DNA's double helix in 1953, a twisting ladder of nucleotides that stored genetic information in its sequence. This elegant structure explained how cells copy and pass on genes, like photocopying a complex instruction manual with stunning precision and occasional errors. But genes don't just craft your eye color, they influence tendencies like intelligence, temperament, and vulnerability to diseases. This isn't simple cause and effect, it's kaleidoscopic, with genes interacting with environment, experience, and even chance to sculpt who you are. Mukherjee personally weaves his family's story of mental illness, revealing how genes carry secrets and burdens that echo over generations. Hereditary diseases challenge our notions of fate and free will and underscore why we grapple so intensely with genetic knowledge. Here's the cliffhanger: can we edit the book of life? CRISPR technology bursts onto the scene, turning genetic knowledge into power. But with great power comes a brutal ethical tug-of-war. CRISPR, a gene editing tool discovered by Jennifer Doudna and Emmanuel Charpentier, acts like molecular scissors that can cut and rewrite DNA precisely. Suddenly, what was once science fiction, a targeted rewrite of genetic code, became reality, and the possibilities multiplied dramatically. Before CRISPR, geneticists hunted for mutations to explain diseases. Now they can fix mutations, raising hopes for curing hereditary illnesses or even enhancing human traits. The analogy: it's like switching from reading old, damaged manuscripts to being able to edit and rearrange sentences at will. But the power to rewrite genes forces us into deep moral territory. Should we edit embryos or choose traits? Could we accidentally unleash new dangers? Mukherjee's narrative shows that our ability to play God with genes redefines what it means to be human, and that's a story still being written. Remember Mendel's modest pea plants in that quiet monastery garden? That's where the whole story starts, the humble clues that grew into a revolution. Mukherjee's journey shows us that genes are more than molecules. They're the narrative threads weaving our biology, identity, and choices. Next time you think about your DNA, try this. See it as your personal, ever-evolving story, still being written, still full of surprises. Subscribe for more book summaries like this one.